Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today's a really exciting one. We are swatching out this amazing palette from Beam Paints. So then we'll also paint with it, and then I will show you a book at the end that kind of ties in with this whole concept. So this company is a really amazing Indigenous owned company located in Manitoulin Island in Canada. So the entire concept is to create safe, non-toxic products and plastic-free products. So they're only using honey from locally sourced honey, gum arabic, no synthetic binders or anything like that. And then also instead of putting the paint in plastic half pans, these paint stones are wrapped in a wax canvas. So it's really amazing. You will see a slight difference in some of these. They're wrapped in paper, but I think they have gone back to the canvas, but we will talk more about that in the video. So you can see me here just taking my paintbrush and putting water on each of the paint stones to start to reactivate them. This is something that all handmade paints and some commercial paints benefit from, and I really enjoy this part of the kind of the process, because you are starting to put away like other thoughts and other things that you're doing, and you start to look at the colors and start to turn that part of your artistic brain on. So I really enjoy doing that, and just allowing those pigments a little bit, it only takes sort of 20 or 30 seconds, but just a little bit of time for them to start reactivating. And then these ones here are wrapped in the wax canvas, so I think that's how they are coming now. And they did have a time where they went to cotton paper, which I'll show you a couple of those here next to these, but in I think January or February. Yeah, so you can see the difference with the paper and then the wax canvas. I also really love that you can make different little palettes, just with a couple of them you can make a nice little palette. But what was I saying? Yeah, they did have a sale in I think January or February where they went back to canvas, so they were getting rid of all the stock that had paper, and you could get they were half price basically. So I got quite a few of these colors then. I had also been collecting some, so yeah, really love this palette. And throughout this video, and you'll see later on in the video, I kind of take it on a little excursion. It's quite portable and easy to just take around, and really enjoyable to paint with. So So the other thing is, if you are looking for inspiration of something to paint, I find painting company logos really enjoyable as well, and it's really good practice. So the first color that we have here is their strawberry red. I really love this red. It's kind of a pinky red, but I don't know, it's just a really nice red. The next one that we have here is Beach Rose. So kind of in a way that would be, the strawberry red would be your cool red and the beach rose would be like a warmer red, but they're both quite cool colours and just really, really lovely ones. So this next one here is Rose. I think it's just called Rose. So their paints, when they have white in them, they call them a gouache. So yeah, I just sort of stick to the watercolour, just in my mind, like that's how I'm using them. So yeah, but let's see, this one here is Beach Sand. So it's a beautiful one, and it's all their mica, the shimmer ones, are ethical mica as well, so which is really important. And yeah, with the gouache, so any of their colours that have the white mixed in means you can build up the painting, so it's more opaque, it's going to give you better coverage, and you can sort of go over the top of other colours. And I find the shimmer paints will also give you a similar thing, like you can use any of these ones. This is the gold bronze, and you know, you can use the shimmer colours in the same way, you can go over other things. But the way that I am painting with them, I'm just using them as watercolours. I glaze them as watercolours. So if I call them watercolour, not gouache, it's just to not confuse, you know, how I'm using them, not necessarily, So the next one here is Dreamer's Gold. So the really nice thing is they have several different options of shimmer colours. I really enjoy using metallics and golds. So it's nice to have like a range of different ones there to choose from. Some are a little bit more antique. This one's almost a bit more like the Winsor & Newton gold ink that I really love. This one here is a really nice one. This is Morning Peach. So again, I think they call this one a gouache. This one here is Poplar Yellow. So it's the warmer of the two yellows that I have here. What's I going to say? Oh, they mix beautifully. They lay down beautifully, and so we will do some mixes with them and paint with them further on into the video. You can see whenever I get a little splodge of water on my page, I just put a little bit of shimmer paint into it and let it dry there. So this one here is Butter. Again, like a really lovely soft yellow. They're very creamy kind of a paint, and also there's so much information. I will link below her Instagram and the website, and there's just a lot of really lovely things out there about it. This one here is Cream. This is kind of like a buff titanium. Just a really lovely one. I love having this kind of a colour as like a warm grey, and then I'll swatch Slate later on in the video, and that is like more of a cool grey. So it's really nice to have those two to mix if you want a cool shadow or a warm shadow, to mix it in with other colours. This one here is Silver, I think. So again, another one of their beautiful shimmer metallics. I'm also just showing you there, I don't know how often I show this in videos, but this is an Uni Kuru Toga, and it's a 0.05 mechanical pencil, I think. I really like using this to write things because it doesn't, the lead doesn't get blunt, so I write all of the names and everything with that. But I really don't like sketching with it, which is funny. I always use the watercolor graphite pencils. But anyway, so this one here, let me see. So this one is it's actually a really lovely one. So they've called it Fiddlehead Green, and yeah, just a really, really stunning one. So I'll kind of show you once they dry, and you can kind of see the shimmer pigments settle into the paper there, and it's really lovely. So the next one that I just did is more like a leaf green color. It is called Milkweed. And then this one here is a really saturated, beautiful green. This one's called Pine. The nice thing about a middle kind of green like that is you can deepen it up with like a darker color, and then you can also add yellow to make it more lighter. And then this one here, I actually really love this. This is one of my favorites. I'll kind of show you my favorites at the end. But this one is called Boreal Forest, and it's a stunning one. So I love the top one and the bottom one. But yeah, those are the type of pigments that I'm always looking for in any brand, and it's something that's different, that's not in the kind of regular lineups of brands, but also it's a really soft color, and it has sort of this really lovely granulation and softness about it. I really love it. I feel like it immediately gives your palette something beautiful. This one, well, the two that I've just done here, these two blues, are also two of my favorites. The top one is Robin's Egg Blue, and this one is Glacial Rivers. It is so beautiful. Like, it's one of my favorites, and I already ordered a second one. I really, really love it. Such a beautiful combination. It just shimmers. It's really beautiful. This one here is another one of their gouache colors. This is called Ice, I think. And yeah, this one with the Robin's Egg Blue, they're really pretty. You can see like all those blues there. But also the two that I am swatching now, this one here is an Amethyst. Those two that I was pointing to are both Amethyst. This one here I think is not the one that they are offering, but this one is such a beautiful color. It's kind of more like an iris color, but it's got like a silver shimmer in it. I'm not sure if they were thinking maybe of doing this one and then didn't put it in the whole lineup. So I've skipped over here to the Lilac. I love this one. You can see it's in my palette here that my studio palette that I use all the time. Yeah, so and you can see also that they used to do the square Painstones. But yeah, I love this color as well. But the Amethyst that I just swatched, I really hope they bring that in as like a different color into their range, because it's such a beautiful one with the silver shimmer. And then the regular Amethyst that they have is also gorgeous. So this one here is with a gold shimmer undertone. Yeah, they're both, you can see them there, like they're both so stunning and so different in the palette. So it's hard to capture the shimmer of that one on camera. It's very understated, but yeah, really lovely. And then this one here is also a favorite. This one is Viridian. So I think I've tried Viridian in other brands, and they're often quite hard to re-wet, which is not the case with this one. And it's also just such a beautiful sheer color. So this is sort of similar to, I really like the Wallace & Seymour Chinabressi, like the old one that wasn't opaque. because of how like transparent and lovely it was. And this is a similar thing to that. It's just a really beautiful color. I mean, I don't mind opaque. You can see that it was in that palette as well, but I don't mind opaque colors. I use them quite a lot, but I do really love a good sheer beautiful color. So this one here is I think it's kind of their version of ultramarine. It's PB29, but it's called Great Ocean, and I really loved that. It kind of reminded me of Australia and the beaches there, so I just wanted to pop that in. It's not usually a color that I have on a palette. Yeah, this one here is but it's growing on me as well. I have been kind of trying to use more of that blue. When I see like this certain type of blue, I don't know, I really love it, like with the Sennelier pastel that I have. I don't know, but anyway. So the top one here is Mars Black. Again, it's a beautiful version of a granulating black. I really like this version. And then the one I just did is their Violet. So it is a stunning color. It is really, really like a deep color. You can see it's so saturated, and then you can water it out to make it softer, but really gorgeous. This one here is Ink Brown. Oh, is that right? No, what am I? I'm reading my writing wrong. Cub Brown. So again, it's a beautiful brown. It's a slight purple leaning brown. Really, really stunning. Beautiful granulation. This one here is Mars Violet. So again, like one of those violet earth colors that I really enjoy. And again, it's a beautiful granulating version. It's a really lovely one. Let's see. This one is Burnt Sienna. So yep, this is always such a nice color and very useful to, you can mix this with any of like the pinks or the purples or anything really, and you get just beautiful soft versions of that color. This one here is again another one like the Boreal Forest. It's a beautiful one. This is Red Clay. There's something very like earthy about these colors that I love painting with them. They give you a texture and kind of sit on the page differently than regular watercolors. So yeah, that is all the swatches. I'll just kind of show you here. So I kind of pointed these out through the swatching, but these are like my favorites of all the colors. They offer something really beautiful and unique. I think that's often what I'm looking for, is like something that another company doesn't offer. So it's really nice to combine all those different things. Like you can see that I have put some of these in my regular palettes, and that's really nice to have a different dedicated palette to them as well. Yeah, let's see. I should also probably mention I am sorry that the video didn't go out last week as hoped. Yeah, just been a lot going on. And then as well at the beginning, I was just listening to just checking that all the sound was working. It sounds a little bit like I'm reading it, which I'm not. It was like the fourth or fifth time I had kind of done the intro, because I just kept getting problems with the equipment. And anyway, so here I'm swatching the Slate. You can see there the cream, which is more of the warm grey, and then the Slate, which is a cool grey. It's always nice to have mixing colours like that. And actually, if I had have had more time, I was going to sort of mix those with a bunch of the different colours so you could see the difference in the mixes there. This is a little offering that they have, is like a little travel palette, which I really love. We will use that in a video and kind of paint with that at some stage as well. And then I just put together a little pastel palette here, so as well, if pastels is more your thing, they have a really beautiful kind of selection of that kind of type. And let's see, yeah, so really love it. You can also see the tray here. This is just a silver tray. I'm not sure, I was going to say butter tray, but I don't know if it was a butter tray, but it's like a silver tray off Etsy. It was like $15 or $20. So but it just elevates it a little bit, makes the painting experience a little bit special. So yeah, and you can kind of, they range in price. Like you can get more expensive ones, you can get, you know, some more affordable ones. You can probably find some of these at local thrift shops. So here we're just going to mix a few of the colours. So I didn't really have a plan here. I just kind of started mixing things that I wanted to see together. So I think I did the I can't remember. I think I did the Cub Brown and the cream, and I'm also putting a little bit of the beach sand in there as well. So you can see, like, you can get these softer shadow colours, and I'm always kind of mixing things like that. Like I'm just kind of seeing how the I think it's really important when you're painting something to try and get those shadow colours really nice and kind of looking like they match in with the painting. So I'm using violet here. Let's see, I'm using, this is the robin's egg blue and the violet. I think I'm just kind of seeing if, like, what that would do. By the end of this, I'm using a little bit of the pearl white, which I actually didn't swatch, but the pearl white is something I always love, having a pearl white. If you have just some of the regular colours, not the shimmer colours, you can always use like a pearl white and make them shimmer colours, which I really love. I think I'm using the beach sand and some of the, what one's that? Beach rose. By the end of this video, I mean, what am I saying? It's been a really long couple of weeks, but by the end of, by the end of this little swatch area, so I think here I just mixed the beach rose and the white. I think they call the white the pearl white shell, maybe. And then I mixed this is one of my favourite mixes, the Mars Violet and the Pearl White, which is possibly shell. I love that. It's such a stunning, it makes just such a beautiful colour. Let's see. But by the time I finished this kind of page, it was kind of giving me portrait vibes, which is not really where I was headed. I've been kind of thinking and focusing more on landscapes, but the violet there, when I had it down, I wanted to kind of paint violet eyes. Like I was just liking that. I was actually thinking of the violet for the iris that I showed in the last video. It's like the perfect colour for that, but yeah, anyway, I did try a portrait and it just did not go well. So it ended up being actually ripped out of the book, and I really tore it up, and then you kind of see remnants of it in there. And then I also did this one, and I didn't like the whole kind of, it didn't work. So I just took some of my other swatches and just put those over the top. So, you know, it's your sketchbook. If you don't like something, you can always tear it out, paint over it, stick something over it, keep the bits you like, get rid of anything else. So then I just take the palette downstairs. I've been kind of trying to get more portable with art supplies and things. And then what I did here is I looked up Manitoulin Island on instantstreetview.com. So when you go on there, you can kind of search where you want to go. So I put in Manitoulin Island, and then you have like this little person icon, and you can kind of move that onto like the map wherever you kind of want to go. And there's not like a whole lot of places that you can sort of find on there, because just probably not a lot has been uploaded. But I found this area and I really liked it, so I thought this is a very simple and nice landscape that we can kind of do here. Yeah, just a nice little one, fairly quick and beginner friendly, I would say as well. So yeah. I'm always very aware that some of you have painted for, many, many years, and some of you are just beginners. So I always want to try and, bring a little bit of something that will, you can achieve, and then something where if you're more advanced, you can kind of add on to that. So hopefully, this is something like that. But you can see that the kind of concept here is quite simple. There were two moons in the sky, I think, just based from how the kind of the photo panned around. But I'm also using here like my brushes, not necessarily my brushes from my desk. I'm more using the brushes that are in my Plein kit, my setup. I've been trying to paint with those more and kind of just get used to doing things with those. And then we're kind of doing one of those big sky landscape skies. So I'm thinking about Canada, I'm thinking about the Northern Lights and just those amazing light shows and really showy skies. So we're putting down a colour, and then we are kind of softening that out and then adding another colour in and blending that in. But you can see that I'm not really I'm putting more pigment on some areas of the paper than others, so it's not really a gradual wash. I'm really wanting the sky to have variation in it. And then here we're painting the moon, but we're kind of doing the negative shape, and then we are just filling in the sky, and again like adding more colors next to each other and letting those blend together. So I'm using the Boreal Forest because I couldn't wait to use this, and I really wanted to try it in a painting. And we're basically putting in the trees. There was kind of like part of the island, and it's just covered in trees there. So you can see that I'm putting those on. I'm also like adding a little bit of blue in with the trees for the shadows in this kind of evening time of night. I'm also not smearing the paint. I'm kind of dabbing it on. So I'm changing my pressure a little bit as I put it on the page, but then I'm lifting it off as well, so that the brush is not sort of smearing paint. It's actually you're kind of dabbing and then you're lifting and kind of re-dabbing, if that makes sense. And then so we're just putting a little bit of a shadow wash onto the pier there. Let's see. I put a little bit of the slate in with the blue there. Again, like we're trying to go for this kind of evening look, so there's not a lot of warm colors, but you could also warm it up a little bit with you know, a bit of an ochre, a bit of a yellow or burnt sienna, something like that as well. So you can see I just put a light wash in for the water, and I did not make it smooth. I was dry brushing it a little bit there so that there was some white of the paper also coming through. I'm also just now sort of putting a little bit of a shadow, so I'm kind of wetting the area underneath the island and letting a little bit of that green come into it, and also I'm also adding extra. So now we're actually just getting a really dark mix so that we can add some dark shadows onto the pier and kind of make that wood come to life, and yeah, just put the finishing touches on everything. I'm actually taking a bit of the pine here, a bit of the green that's a little bit more saturated, and I'm going to mix that in with, so I've got already on the thing there, I've got Mars Black, the I think the Cub Brown, and then the violet. So I'm kind of mixing a shadow color with those that's quite lively and quite beautiful. And then I'm also using that with a little bit of the pine to get kind of a deep shadow green color, and just creating little you can see like it's a small brush, and just going in back into the hills there and adding some more kind of tree shapes. And then so I'm just taking the actual shadow color that we mixed up and just going along here along the pier. You can also see that I'm not super precise about the lines. I am just kind of like, even here I am going along, I'm letting my brush lift off the page, I'm letting the different brush strokes be different widths, and yeah, so I just go along here. I'm sort of making those, you know, the weathered old wood where it's got like the, you know, the different kind of grains in it, so I'm painting that along there. And the nice thing about that is that you know, there's no right or wrong way. And then I'm going back in from the other side, so I'm not joining these lines. I kind of did the one side and then I did the other side, but you can see here when it becomes more to the front and the planks are getting further apart, I do kind of make sure that the one side and the other side are kind of evening up, even though the middle of them isn't joined. I try and visually make them match up. And actually, I just opened my sketchbook before, and this looks a little bit, it's a little bit duller on camera than it is in real life. It's actually quite vibrant. And the other thing that I could do is go back over the water again now with a glaze and make that a little bit deeper and a little bit darker. But yeah, quite happy with how that turned out. And then you can see here, like when I first did that page and then I just took it out of the sketchbook, there was like a whole bunch of pieces, and I really wasn't thinking to keep them, but I did those three, I didn't mind, so I kept those and I just put them back in the book there. And yeah, we have just a little few page spread about these paints, so that's just a really nice way to also you know, do something in your sketchbook. You can see here, like, instead of doing something quite elaborate on this page opposite. I just took a really nice mix that I liked. So I think this is the beach rose and the shell, and yeah, I just created these large stripes. And you can, I think I show you kind of in somewhere when you're kind of flipping through the pages and the light catches those stripes, it's just quite a nice little bit of shimmer there in the sketchbook. So your pages don't always have to be really elaborate. Sometimes it can just be something very nice and simple through the book. So here we have this amazing book, and I thought it would go along really well with the kind of theme of these paints, which is non-toxic, you know, safe for the environment, safe for our homes and you know, studios, and safe for each other. So this is a beautiful book about a little island off the coast of California, Santa Catalina, and the Society for Advancement of Plein Air Painting, which I'd never even heard of, put together this book. And so there's a little bit about that. And every year, I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but they had exhibitions, and so you would go there and do your plein air painting, and then come into this ballroom and they would show all the paintings, which I think is just amazing. And then I really loved these first couple of pages. So they're written by a few different people. So I'm going to leave these here and you can kind of read along there. But this part about the plein air painter as conservationist, I think is so beautiful and goes along exactly with kind of the whole concept behind these paints. And it talks about just it talks about kind of the way that the impact that we can have even as painters to change the course and protect the environment. It talked about the Hudson River School of Painters in the 1800s, that they actually were also activists of their day, and so which is I think is really interesting. And like I was painting, the last plein air video I did was about where I painted the geese, was on the Hudson River, so I thought that was really nice as well. But yeah, she kind of finishes it by saying, our common bond is a deep reverence for nature, and our common goal is to preserve the environment. And you think about this, like they're painters, they're not, you know, and that's their goal. No statement is more eloquent than the silent testament of these magnificent paintings. Each generation in its turn is the steward of the land, water, and air. Our time is now. I sincerely hope that the message this book imparts will inspire us all to action in this most pressing obligation. So I think that's so lovely, and that you know goes back to what Anong is doing with the beam paints, and her Painstones. So it's really amazing, and it's just really, I love the fact that, you know, in being thoughtful about how we go about things, there are opportunities for us to change things and help better things, without kind of changing the whole course of our life. Like they're still painting, but they're also doing something really special. So yeah, and then I'm just going to kind of go through here and point out a few of like my favorite paintings and what I'm looking at when I'm looking through a book like this. Like you can see here the beautiful water and the colors, again, like those subdued hues and the shadows. always I'm looking at the water, the light hitting the water, and also like the boats and the hills. Yeah, like the buildings in the background there and how that reflects on the water, and then the mountains in the background. I love when the waves are crashing. I definitely want to paint that. And you can see like the different, like the colors here. So this painting actually has like a hot pink background, and yeah, really love like all seeing the different palettes that they're using, the water at different times of day. You know, if they're adding like the trees or the brush, and yeah, like you can already feel, like you look at that page and you feel like you're on a holiday, and you know, you're there kind of in the evening. It's really lovely. I love the painting on the left here and the light, and then how it goes into kind of the deep blue shadows on the right. It's so beautiful. So, and then I love this one. I love the muted colors, and then there's also these like little silvered bits of pink in the water there, and in the clouds, and even in the hill, and then the like sunshine in this one. So yeah, I'm always kind of looking at that, like how are they conveying this, and I think I'm always drawn to a little bit more like the impressionist style as well. So yeah, it's really interesting how all these artists can be. Here's a watercolor one as well, so beautiful. All the artists can be on the same island looking at the same kind of scene, and they feel it differently, they're painting it differently. I also love the nocturnes in here. I always love, so a nocturne is a night painting, and we'll do more of that on the channel as well, but I really love them. And yeah, so there's quite a few in this book, which is really nice. And these ones, yeah, you can see like such a difference, you know, the night, the day, how to capture that. Like